welcome to our second ever MacGuffin live stream here. We are super happy today to be celebrating the winners of last year's Poet Hunt 26 poetry contest. We have Patrick Wilcox, Karen Hones, and Camille Carter here, all of whom were selected by last year's guest judge, Indigo Moore, who we're expecting will be joining us sometime in the hour today. And we also will have a special not live guest appearance by this year's judge, Lynne Thompson. And you can read work by all of these people in our latest issue, which is coming out. And if you are someone that entered last year's contest, you'll remember that you're supposed to get the issue with all the selected poems in it. And you're probably like, Gordon, what the heck? Where's my issue? Well, I know it's coming. It's right here. We got it in the mail last Tuesday, I think. So hoping to have all of those in the mail by the end of next week, hopefully at the latest 2 weeks from Monday. But if you are interested in checking out this year's contest, all the same rules apply. You will get the next version of this issue if you enter this year's contest. $15 entry fee gets you 5 poems, shot at a $500 grand prize, and possible publication. And hey, even if you don't get published, you will eventually get an issue in the mail, hand-packed by yours truly, with as much love and care as I can muster, which in 2022 is not a lot, but I'll give you what I got. So I think to kick off today's festivities, our boss here, guest editor Kathleen McClung, I think in the captain's chair for a little over a year now or so, is going to give us some opening words here.
Thanks a million, Gordon. I am Kathleen McClung. I am delighted to be serving as guest editor for this past year and delighted to continue on for another year ahead. It's a joy to work with Gordon Krupsky, the managing editor, and with our staff of editors. We have a total of 14 prose and poetry editors scattered all around the country. Some of us are in California, some are in the Midwest, a few are on the East Coast. And we've been meeting via Zoom through the last 2 years to finalize our selections. And it's a really wonderful staff of people to be working with to produce the MacGuffin. We had a staff of 9 screeners working on screening for the contest last summer. And these folks read hundreds and hundreds of poems by, again, people who contributed from all around the country. And I was one of the screeners. It was a lot of fun to read the submissions. And we narrowed down the submissions to a total of about 25 semifinalists that went on to our judge, Indigo Moore. And he made the final selections of the grand prize and the 2 honorable mentions. I was delighted in a few years ago to receive an honorable mention from Judge Naomi Shihab Nye in Poet Hunt 22. And that's a large reason why I'm affiliated with the MacGuffin now, because of that honor and because of having the opportunity to meet Gordon at an AWP conference and really talking about the MacGuffin. And as you may know, the MacGuffin's been published 3 times a year in print since 1984. So we're one of the longest running literary magazines around. And I'm really proud of the work that we publish. I'm really proud of these winners that we're going to be hearing from today. That's pretty much what I have to say. I'm looking forward to hearing everybody read. And I want to thank you all for being here, and thanks to our live stream watchers. And hopefully people will eventually watch the recording of this and do submit work for this year's Poet Hunt. So thanks so much. And now back to Gordon.
To kick things off today, we are going to start with our second honorable mention and kind of work our way backwards up to Patrick Wilcox, who was last year's grand prize winner. So starting off the reading today, second honorable mention, Karen Hones. So I will tell you a little bit about Karen here. Karen Hones has published poetry in New Letters, Yellow Silk, and online in the San Francisco Public Library's Poem of the Day series. She's currently assembling a poetry manuscript and writing a memoir about her mother. Other interests include doula work and aimless wandering. Great one this time of year, I tell you what. Karen, take it away.
Thank you very much. I'm Karen Hones. Thank you so much, Gordon and Kathleen, and to all the editors and to the judge, Indigo Moore. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. And I'm going to start with the poem that is going to be published in the MacGuffin. I'm a little bit of a matchmaker, and I've only actually had one successful match in many years of doing matchmaking. But this poem came from reading about a boxer and his wife. And I just was curious about how things work between them after reading the story. So it's called Dementia Pugilistica. And the epigraph is, he's still a studly 185. And that's from Elaine Quarry, wife of the boxer. Unlike the other men, excuse me, unlike the other men I know, soft-bellied and gray in middle age, my husband can pound a fist against his stomach like a stone against a tree, hard as Brando in Streetcar. He still has an appetite for me, reaches out and says, baby. I'm in his arms, trusting as a baby, hot under his scarred palms before I know it. His mouth and hands remember my hunger, begin to fill me. In bed, he's ageless, supple, skillful as an actor, big fingers grazing my breast and waist. To keep me in the mood, he knows he can't waste words or talk much. Sometimes he acts like a brute, though he's blameless as a baby. Too many blows to the head in the ring. He knows he's punch drunk, swaying, off balance, an old man. I bring him back to life with my appetite for him, my memories. Light on his feet, hungry for applause, blonde, blue-eyed, hands on my waist, lifting me onto him. The first time I was 18, took off my glasses. You're just a baby, breath on my nipple. What did I know? My dream man came from the movies, where I sat in the dark with Brando, grew into a woman with a big appetite, craving those carnal moments of knowing, the salt taste, rough fit lips on my belly, a dumb man smart enough to say baby thickly when I come. I've stayed all these years. Tonight he finishes, falls away. In a year, I'll have my PhD. Will he still look like Brando in his prime, puzzle over simple questions, sleep like a baby when the act is over? While I satisfy my appetite with books and food, expanding brain and waste, wondering where to go with what I know. And then I'll be reading 3 poems. The second one is called, I was thinking I had a pile of poems, and there were some about sex and some about death and some about a woman's right to choose. But then what I came up with that I was in the mood to read about is a poem about friendship. So this is called To the Palm Desert, 1996. 1. No overalls, it's a 5-star resort, you say on the phone. We go back so far and haven't seen each other much this year. I murmur, fine, withhold the rude retort. I'll have to take a couple days off work, let Ruby miss almost a week of school. I buy her paperbacks and baggy shorts, pack Grace Paley and my Speedo for the pool. We 4 fly out of Oakland on Southwest. Even the attendants have on sneakers, but you're in black pseudo Chanel, your best outfit. Our kids pass the time playing checkers. Just afternoon, we land at Ontario, head for the desert in a rental car. 2. We head out in the budget rental car. Ruby explains the symbols on the dashboard. You say you can't drive more than 2 hours. You've carpal tunnel syndrome in your right arm from cutting fabric every day at work. And I can't drive at all. I always fly or take the train. Our last trip was New York 12 years ago. Do you remember why we fought? A man. That's laughable today. You're married with a kid. I gave up sex to raise Ruby and write poetry, a way to sublimate the urge to have sex. Write about it. The words can make you hot in forms and fantasies the act cannot. 3. The snow-capped mountains form a fantasy backdrop to this road trip. Louis beside me and back, reshaping with his brown hands a rubbery man. I went to Italy when you were pregnant. A broken mirror toppled by an earthquake reflected back my need for change. Over lukewarm beer in my living room, candle stumps flickering between us, we talked all night because the power was down. The bridge collapsed. You said, you'll want some new black clothes if you spend the winter in Firenze. Then said Nora, I'm imbarazzata. Is that how you say it? Then a light came on. 4. At the next light, we have to take a left, according to my map. Louis waking from a cat nap. You had a hard birth after I flew home from Milan. The baby taking a hard, fast ride through you. The wide palm-lined avenue is dreamlike and so clean. I'm glad you talked me into these white linen slacks. It's hot as hell, yet the grass is greener here in the desert. Ruby can't believe the Hotel Esmeralda. Its platoon of workers, our room with a bar, 2 queens, a balcony looking over a pool, which we're going to now. I'll sit on the faux beach under an umbrella in this lap of luxe. 5. This isn't what we're used to, it's deluxe. Our homes are in the parts of town where guns go off routinely every time the sun goes down. The tariff here is only $30 a night, a perk, because you work at the Stanford court in alterations. My challenge these 3 days is not to drink. Our friendship's gone up on the rocks under the influence of too many beers and the wrong words said in haste more than once. I'll find the spa instead, run on the treadmill for an hour, my back to coverage of the trial on C-SPAN. At dinner, I have water, you red wine. We all put on our PJs, look at the moon. 6. The palms wave in air under a full moon, like at the climax of some operas. The death of Klinghoffer, a man in a wheelchair poised at the side of the pool. The moon, a luminous main character with menace and intent, a presence powerful and wide-ranging as the singer's scary arias. Mark Morris dancers, terrorists with ski masks over their faces, prowled while we sat side by side in darkness watching in wool dresses, nodding our damp hands in our laps, ringing our programs. That time we did not need a libretto to lead us from the edge into the inky pool. 7. Our last night, I take a late dip in the pool. It's midweek and there's no one here but us. Ruby makes a list of souvenirs for school. You straighten the room. I ask Ruby to brush my hair, which she does while watching Roseanne. Louis under the covers, too excited to sleep. You get in bed with house and garden. This room illuminates the friendship. This scene with Ruby, Louis, you and me ripened, I guess in a good way, like good breed. Good mothers of our loved kids on vacation in the desert, where improbably everything from the water to the grass, even the dates, came from somewhere else. And then the last one, I'm going to give you a visual to go with this. Just a quick visual. Can do this. Okay, so you get the picture. This poem is called Mask Me. If, as the online dictionary says, mask is a covering for all or part of the face worn as a disguise or to amuse or terrify other people, why not wear one? If you never have to fully show who you are, if you can hide from disease, if in Venice once during Carnivale, they wore decorative masks to hide that they were homely or low-born, to wander into licentiousness with a long pointy nose filled with herbs to cover the stench of illness and death, if now we can wear 1 or 2 of them to keep the traveling virus at bay, we can look at each other in a new way. A friend recently divorced invites her ex to the new abode, then to her bed with the proviso that they keep their masks on. Beneath the mask, each seems a stranger, exciting. She hadn't initiated in years. I, for one, have never been happier in a sartorial sense, or not since bell bottoms, that fresh approach to legs. My Texas friends get Botox injections. I wear my headwear, my hair covered by the gaiter, my face behind the mask, augmented by big dark shades. I'm ageless, genderless, and who knows where I'm from. Why not wear one? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. I feel like I would be remiss and not doing my best friend Marnie Sasan justice if I did not compliment you for looking very ska with the classic checkerboard there. Thank you so much. That was Karen Hones, who received second honorable mention in Poet Hunt 26 for her poem Dementia Pugilistica. Next, we're going to move on to last year's first honorable mention, which was Camille Carter, who had the poem Mother on the Steps of St. Peter's Church. And just so I feel like you kind of need to see this one, it's laid out really cool. I don't know if I can accurately show this, but it's in this like really neat looking text block. Oh yeah, Camille, you haven't seen this in print yet. You've only seen the PDF. So that's what it'll look like when it shows up in the mail. Little sneak peek for everybody there. So let me see. To introduce Camille, Camille Carter is a writer, poet, and traveler. She has studied at Loyola University, New Orleans, the University of Chicago, and KU Leuven. She currently lives in Harlem, Montana, where she teaches at Ani Dakota College on the Fort Belknap Reservation. And Camille, take it away.
Thank you, Gordon, and thank you. I want to thank all of the staff, editorial staff, and the guest judge for this contest with the MacGuffin. So yeah, here is my poem entitled Mother on the Steps of St. Peter's Church. Never knew Hail Mary. These beads, only good for jewelry now, still I'll sell, pennies on the dollar. Weaken your knees, child. It hurts to be preordained. You were sent, stupid head full of whiskey, to beatify a night fugue, broken through milk glass. Once I birthed a burden in hunkered down pose, a fistful of rubies that, like a breath, blew away. A woman is blessed. I rubbed a hole in my chest till it grew whole again. I rubbed a hole in my chest till it never grew again. Saw-like, raw-like, a womb punctured out of Dante with my knuckle bones. I dug a hole. I labored upward. When I emerged, a storm of stones flew at me. I saw my reflection in an earth stone. The earth stone asked, was I a woman or a field? Say I, do you want to buy or not? Thank you. So that is the poem that will appear in the MacGuffin. And I will also read another poem, if that's all right with y'all.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, this is a poem that I wrote last year, has since been published on the Poetry Foundation site. I like this poem a lot, so I'm happy to share it with you. It's based off of a painting by Georgia O'Keeffe called From the Far Away Nearby. You might know this painting, it's pretty famous. So this is Georgia O'Keeffe, From the Far Away Nearby, 1937. Make no bones about it. Or better yet, make bones. Sand-born, sun-bleached, bald-faced bones, naked but for a southwest sky. I began picking up the bones because there were no flowers. More than enough to fill your pockets, a treasure trove in plain sight, atop sage-covered plains. In the picture taken by your lover, you pose with them, nestling them, caressing them, pressing them, brush of bone against your cheekbone, your eyes rolled back in ecstasy. Momentarily, you were someplace else. Place was metaphysics. The word skeleton meant home. He will not follow you there. You return alone to New Mexico, to your catacomb, curio cabinet stuffed with canvases, with corpses. It's the summer of 1936 when you receive his letter. I worry the landscape makes you lonely, but it is his logic that makes you lonely. You will not bother to reply. Outside at dusk, you paint the desert, the broken fence, a single chicken bone. Suddenly you are struck to think how elemental they turned out to be, your life's preoccupations. While in the prism of the painting, antlers bloom, as ascendant and gnarled as branches, sits the alien skull of the once majestic stag. One night you dream you see yourself as if from far away, asleep and slumped on sand dunes the color of cream. Walking backwards, you watch with fascination as your body fades into a hillock's hump, is stifled by a sun-drenched sheet. Thank you. And if I have time for one more, I will read that as well. It's a little bit shorter. This poem is called Schnook. So I live in Harlem, Montana. It's right next to Schnook, Montana. And Schnook is a word, it's a place name, of course, because it's the name of this town where the Nez Perce Indians were slaughtered. As well, it's a word from the Schnookans, which was a tribe that was in the Pacific Northwest. They're still here today, of course, although their numbers have been greatly reduced. And it's a word that in their language means a moist wind that comes from the west. And anyway, this is a poem called Schnook, and it deals with both of those meanings, if you will. Okay, Schnook. That summer, your lover spoke in bird song, pressed on your tongue, the single seed. Your mom's a hunchback in the yard. She shovels dirt with the snuffed out snubs of your last stepdad's cigarette. When you ask her what she's doing, she says she's digging out a cistern to catch your sister's tears. Her breath smells like her nightly bramble, moves westward past your pitcher's glove. You ask the time, the answer's bed. Soon she'll wing her lips, kneel down and plant onto your face a violet gin kiss. Nothing blooms. Your dog that's lost, forever lost, wound clockwise beneath the car of the neighbor's junky hatchback. But you don't know that. not yet. The river still is still. Your boyish body feels a shock each time it hits the water. Memory, the reservoir you camped inside, cough up my cut rate tint. The dog buried in the yard shifts its carcass, scratches his favorite spot behind the ear. You float for miles on your back down the half moon of the river. Back there, what God took you for, he took you for. Your sister's tear swims finally backwards, carries with it the secret seed, moves listless as the picture of your ex-lover's blessed beak. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Camille, for that selection. Beautiful delivery, I have to say, on all of those. Since we do have a little time, I wonder if you could speak briefly about how you structured Mother on the Steps of St. Peter, like form-wise, since it's in that really nice looking text block there. Is that like a style that you've worked with before?
I mean, it's funny because like so many of the poems that I've written in this past 2 years, I think that I say I wrote them, a year or two ago, but in reality, I've been sitting on them for probably a decade. It took a really long time to ever think that I had a voice, or to think that I could actually put my poems out there. So I wrote that poem originally in kind of a note, I guess, on my phone, like I'm sure we all do sometimes. And it was sort of a stream of consciousness poem that I wrote when I was, in my early 20s, and working with it. And you play around with things form-wise, and I liked, finally, when I figured out, oh, okay, I want to make this into this form. I don't even know what it is. I am a student of poetry because I read so much poetry, but I've never been in an MFA program. So I don't know if it has a name, but yeah, it seemed to work for that poem.
Very cool. I love the Notes app aesthetic, and how that influences, the creative choices we make. I hope, I always use that app for my store list. So I think I have a new goal to, design my grocery list to look at least somewhat as pleasing as that. So thank you again for speaking on that, Camille. Next up, we have the grand prize winner himself, ladies and gentlemen. Patrick Wilcox is in the house. Well, he's in his own house, I'm assuming, not mine. So Patrick won our Poet Hunt 26. Just as a reminder for everyone out there, Poet Hunt 27 is a go. It is currently happening right now. Run to your nearest computer and enter if you are so interested. All the same rules apply as last year. $15 for the entry fee. Gives you the ability to send us 5 poems. You can do that on Submittable. I think our website is themacguffin.submittable.com. Very predictable. We are also taking submissions through email and post. If you want to just send us something in the mail, the address here, Schoolcraft College, 18600 Haggerty Road, Livonia, Michigan, 48152. Make checks payable out to Schoolcraft College. Or if you want to enter by email, you can check us out at schoolcraftbooks.com, the official website of the Schoolcraft Bookstore, where you can just purchase an entry fee there and then email us your work. Any questions, feel free to hit me up either at the MacGuffin at schoolcraft.edu or gkrupsky@schoolcraft.edu. Either works. You can also call here, which I probably won't end up being here, but I'll get back to you. Email is going to be best though. But without further ado, let me welcome here Patrick Wilcox, chosen as the grand prize winner of Poet Hunt 26 by Indigo Moore for his poem City Approves Demolition of Library. Patrick Wilcox is from Independence, Missouri, a large suburb just outside of Kansas City, best known for the Oregon Trail, Harry S. Truman, and in more recent decades, production of methamphetamine. He studied English and creative writing at the University of Central Missouri. He is a 3-time recipient of the David Baker Award for Poetry and 2020 honorable mention of Ninth Letters Literary Award in Poetry. His work has appeared in Arcade, Knockout, Quarter After 8, and Bangalore. He currently teaches English language arts at William Chrisman High School in the same town that raised him. Patrick, it's all yours, buddy. Take it away.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. So yeah, first off, just wanted to thank everyone at the MacGuffin, Kathleen, Gordon, Indigo Moore for considering and selecting my work. To give it a bit of context, this poem is a part of a series that uses news headlines as their titles. And so my aim is just to explore kind of the relationship our personal narratives have with like the broader national narrative. So this particular poem, City Approves Demolition of Library, it focuses on a couple who met at the library that's about to be demolished, and it alternates between their two voices. They're not talking to each other directly. They're talking to a third party that becomes apparent as the poem goes on. But one thing these two speakers do is that, like, in times of anxiety or sadness, they comfort each other with these half-verified coffee table trivia kind of facts as distractions, and the facts connect back to the moment in some subtle and not so subtle ways. So let me find it now. So City Approves Demolition of Library. We waited for everything to come down on top of itself. We waited with all the others along the sidewalk, the library, our first words, first kiss, now condemned, waited too. Tell me something meaningless, she begged, nosing into my chest. I said, 40,000 Americans are injured each year by toilets. Like fingertips, everyone's tongue print is different. No word in the English language rhymes with orange, month, silver, or purple. An ostrich's eye is bigger than its brain. The library collapsed into itself. Thousands of brick abandoned kisses, and the gunshot pops just before might as well have come from inside us. In France, it is legal to marry a dead person. The night before our ceremony, I snuck into his room. He said he never felt so sure, but his kiss collapsed into itself. Tell me something meaningless, he begged, pressing his forehead to mine. I said a cockroach can live weeks without its head before starving to death. Ketchup was sold in the 1830s as medicine. The electric chair was invented by a dentist. The average lead pencil can draw a line 35 miles long. I left the room, but could see down the hall a splinter of light remained beneath the door until 3 a.m. The Nile crocodile can hold its breath underwater for nearly 2 hours while waiting to strike prey. We had no business pretending we ever knew the hidden cogs of a heart, but we kissed each other goodbye each morning anyway. Nobody believed we could be anything but careless, never ending in love. Even in the hospital, surrounded by nurses, her body slowly, inevitably splitting open. It would take 100 Earths filed end to end to stretch across the face of the sun. Jellyfish have no brains, no bones, no heart. There are no clocks in Las Vegas casinos. You were born and we were stranded on the moon. Bees sometimes sting other bees without reason. You were a burden we could not live without. Most nights I thought my love would kill you. Most nights you cried. When you were quiet, I watched you like the dark between street lamps just to see you breathe. Water makes different sounds pouring, depending on its temperature. For 100 years, maps have shown an island that doesn't exist. People break up most often on Mondays. Bed springs choked under the weight. The crib cries in the next room might as well have come from inside us. Nearly all species to have ever lived on Earth are now extinct. We sat for weeks in the love light snow, your pacifier in her pocket, your lab results in mine. Banging your head against the wall burns 150 calories per hour. Peanuts are an ingredient in dynamite. Any pair of languages have a common ancestor. It's impossible what can happen in 2 years, 2 months, 2 minutes. The shouts from the couple across the street might as well have come from inside us. Viking kings were buried in their ships, set adrift to fog and sea. We buried you in autumn, encircled by lilacs and crabgrass. I found her in your room, curled beside the crib in a question mark, trying to speak a language we never really could. Every time you shuffle a deck of cards, you get a combination that has never been. Like the plumbing trap beneath the sink, I thought I could fix her myself. I opened her up while she was sleeping, without knowing the true names of parts. Gears and springs, too small to hold, collapsed like words in a hospital waiting room. I could not see how they wanted to work, and only managed to break her further. And of course, she was never really sleeping, but hoped my meddling might work by accident. What of tomorrow, she asked, the next day, and the next. I pressed my forehead to hers. The calcium in our bones, the iron in our blood, the breath in our brick abandoned kisses were stolen from dying stars, from their never-ending, bygone explosions. And so, I mean, I don't hear any like Oscars music playing me off or anything. So I think I'm going to read one. That was kind of a long one. I forgot to set my timer. So run one more good.
Yeah, you're good, man. Go for it. I forgot to bring the band today. So.
Oh, yeah. Maybe next time. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me find it. So this one's also one of the, it has a kind of a headline as the title. The headline's a long one, and it's kind of a weird one. I think it's from HuffPost, but it's about synesthesia. And I don't know, it kind of just felt like an apt metaphor for like someone trying to kind of figure out if they're on the same wavelength as someone else they care about. So, because you don't perceive the world the same way. So the title is, does this headline look blue to you? Then it might also feel like a triangle. Research shows that synesthesia may extend in more directions than we thought. I know the number 1 is red, and 5 is red wine, and 6 is white. I know white is grime under nails. I know science is green and history is blue, and blue is night's tepid green whisper. But what do you hear when you taste my kiss? What do you taste when your history holds mine? I know my body is a sieve through which the world strains what it wants from what it does not. I know your body is a dead language born again, discovering its hands, spouting words that mean nothing and everything. I know a circle is what's left unsaid at dinner, or the heft of winter's tree line charred by savage dusk. I know all glass is broken glass, and like music, these shards lay flickering around our bare feet. I know the lullaby your fingertips sing across the back of my neck, and I know its lyrics are our secret names kept hidden so long we forgot where we put them. I know every moment is a mile, how we spent miles swaying over that broken glass, not feeling a thing, until I know I don't know the story my lips tell your morning shoulder. I hope it's the one where summer never ends. Thank you so much.
Yo, and thank you so much, Patrick. I think Patrick has actually been at every live stream we've done so far in some shape or form. I think I remember you rolling by the first one like before we
100%,
were
all of
life, man.
them.
Like when we first started doing these things, like we weren't super high tech, like, you know, streaming everything on YouTube and stuff, because that's how it goes over here at the MacGuffin. But now that we're doing that, we're happy to, you know, welcome you into the audience if you are out there watching today. To end today's festivities, I believe we've got a little time left. We are going to hear from Lynne Thompson, guest judge of Poet Hunt 27. Unfortunately, Lynne can't make it today either, but I did sit down and have like a little mono Zoom earlier in the week and record that. So I am going to see if I can show that to y'all right now. All right, and lastly for today, we are happy to bring in Lynne Thompson here, reading on a different day. We were glad that we could splice her in to today's Poet Hunt celebration. So just to give you some more info about Lynne here, Lynne Thompson is the 2021-22 Poet Laureate for the City of Los Angeles. She's the author of Start with a Small Guitar and Beg No Pardon, winner of the Perugia Book Award and the Great Lakes Colleges Association's New Writers Award. Her latest collection, Fretwork, won the Marsh Hawk Poetry Prize and was published in 2019. Recent work appears or is forthcoming in New York Quarterly, The Common, North American Review, and Best American Poetry 2020, among others. Thompson sits on the boards of Cave Canem and the Los Angeles Review of Books. And Lynne, feel free to take it away.
Thank you so much. It's so delightful to be here with Poet Hunt, and I'm happy to share a few poems with you. Approach, memory, as if I am ready, as if I am no longer seed separated from her tree, as if any night has her own intentions, although I'm no longer bound by them, as if I am a clock in Dali's persistence of memory, dripping from a thin nude bark. Then, come with cumulus in your hands. Come as the stranger you are to find me stranger still. Still, when you arrive, notice the end of what was just moments before. As you approach, ask, what is that scent? Sky or rosemary? Wet dog or wild hanker? My body leaning into. You might expect as centerpiece, West Indian village with figures dancing. Instead, my immigrant parents buy a European imitation, hang Bal de Milan de la Galette in our vestibule. All I can ask is, are these the women you both pray I will be? It's impossible to tell where each partner's shadow begins. Me? I like Archibald Motley's Saturday Night with its scarlet-clad heroine, her brown arms unfolding from her body leaning into the rag and swing. One balding man wishing he wasn't wishing. A shot of bourbon and soda, bop and jive and jive and jive. To stun mother, I say, see the sommelier, how far he's willing to backbend cocktails listening to such risky angles just so he can wallow in the woman's satisfaction in simply being the center of everything. In America's mirror, neither bridge nor trapeze, neither absence nor plot, just a hobo with the scent of a scavenger, the romanticized stink of a jackal as in Darfur, Port-au-Prince, or New York City. Bullet-riddled skull there, neat cough, helix, calcium, but neither tundra nor cobblestone, neither sharecropper nor fireworks nor pillar, just a callous brunette gerrymandering the night. Flotsam, labyrinth, unkempt ambition, ashes on the shallow moon, a little too dangerous, a little thistle, all longitude and moonshine. but neither smoke nor spinet, neither blue stem nor stammer in the white mayhem. My Einsteinicity. Let Y equal any number of fathers. Let X equal the numberless planets. Let Y minus X equal long nights of fog, and let X plus Y equal Hydra and incubus. If Y is greater than X, why do all my convictions gape? If X is greater than Y, does father just mean nightcap? When X divides Y, we set sail on a windjammer. When Y divides X, watch for the banshee, the djinn. Or let X be replaced by a midsummer night and Y by, well, you can never replace Y, but by morning, Y will lollygag near half moons. Odysseus sailing to Ithaca, mildew as it rots. And AB is no mere theory of relativity. It is helter-skelter materfamilias, Ma, Barker, and Rebecca, the mother who deceived, not Sarah, who couldn't conceive, nor the mother of all of nature, the black tern, the kittiwake, plants ornamental, baroque, the cumulus, the nebulosus, and yet mother of pearl and ice cold, tiger's eye and monkey in the middle. Let's say AB is a percentage of all the love in the world, or synonymous with, do you love me now that I can dance? Let's agree that A is the salsa or pasadobla, and B is always, always the begin. Last elegy for the red dress. Good morning, red dress, heavy with the sweat of love wants to dance, scented with the hopes of shy man, bold man, beg to take me home man, still crinkly, crumply down the back from the hanker in their hands. Good morning, red dress, morning, chase me, take me shoes. Look like you've been out on the town, like you've been dipped and twirled, dizzied and duped all night long. Like you can't hang between sweatsuits and jeans, like you're another kind of gal. Hello and hey there, red dress, double strand of pearls, faded rose perfume still clinging to the bodice, the slip, the silk of the sleeve, still molten to my hips, my breasts, to the drum of my heart. Hem softly pleated to a permanent party. Where have you been, red dress? And why? Why have you moved on without me? About a dress I'll never wear again. And I'll close with this poem. The poem has an epigraph by the memoirist Margot Jefferson. What has made and maimed me? Who giveth this girl? She took the name Toy Cow. She was aware of her milk. Renaming is greater than privilege. At play equals desire, even when, day after year, she took the name she was given, shredded it, ate most, sent the rest to church where the nuns are a little ballsy. What's in a name is a confoundment, is alkaline, is sky torn down like wallpaper. Who giveth this name in wedded agony? Sticks and claims do not honor thy father, so Toy Cow is the name she took. The boys called her, the girls called her. When she began to call herself. Thank you. Fun to be with you.
Well, thank you so much, Lynn. If you are out there and wondering how you can get some of your work in Lynn's hands, our Poet Hunt 27 contest runs until June 15th this year. We are taking work mainly through Submittable, but we are taking stuff through post and email as well. You can check out our website, which will magically appear somewhere here, which is schoolcraft.edu/MacGuffin. And that was Poet Hunt 27 guest judge Lynne Thompson earlier in the week. And I believe we probably have some final words from our boss over here, guest editor Kathleen McClung. So feel free to close us out.
Okay, just very briefly, thank you, a million thanks, Gordon, for recording Lynne Thompson. It was a joy to listen to Lynne, and it's a joy to have her on board as our guest judge for Poet Hunt. And I do want to share with you, in her honor, I'm wearing the Lynne Thompson Poet Laureate socks that I frequently wear. So yay for Lynne Thompson and a
where
beautiful
can we
reading.
Get those?
You know, I think they're available at the Los Angeles Public Library. That's where I got
Oh, wow,
mine.
that's going to be quite a commute for some socks for me.
But it's been just a huge joy to listen to all of you, Karen, Camille, and Patrick. This is the highlight of being an editor of a literary journal, is to hear amazing work such as yours today. You've all inspired me to do my best work as a writer and to continue to do my best work as an editor. So thank you very much, Karen, Camille, and Patrick. I greatly enjoyed your reading. And thanks again to Gordon for, you know, pulling all the levers and dials and pushing all the buttons and, you know, juggling all the balls technologically, and just for being a, you know, a wonderful colleague. You're a joy to work with. So thanks for all that you do. And, you know, maybe after we turn off the recording, we can just chat informally for a few minutes. I'd really like that. So thanks again. I really appreciate it to everybody. Take good care.
For more information on the MacGuffin, a publication of Schoolcraft College, visit us online at schoolcraft.edu/MacGuffin. Here, you can learn how to enter this year's poetry contest, Poet Hunt 27, judged by Los Angeles Poet Laureate Lynne Thompson. This year's contest runs April 1st through June 15th. Entries will be accepted through Submittable, through an entry at schoolcraftbooks.com via email, and through the mail. Schoolcraftbooks.com, the official website of the Schoolcraft Bookstore, is your one-stop shop for all things MacGuffin. Simply navigate via the Shop tab to access the MacGuffin landing page. Click through to find single issues and, at the bottom of the page, 1- and 2-year subscriptions.